Hello, this is 5 keys on how not to gain weight on a cruise without giving up what you like to eat. My name is Eri Matsumoto. I have been in healthcare for 30 years. I am a nurse practitioner and a diabetes care and education specialist for the past 30 years. I helped thousands of people control their blood sugar and manage their weight. Most importantly, I used to weigh 40 pounds heavier when I was younger, and I tried various diets since I was in college. I tried Atkins diet, low-fat diet, intermittent fasting, and even I ran a marathon. I finally found a way to maintain my ideal body weight for the past 20 years after many failures and successes and a yo-yo diet. We went on a cruise recently after 3 years of not going on vacation. Going on a cruise means most, if not all, the food and drinks are paid for. So we tend to overeat and gain weight during the cruise. So I thought it is a good time for me to put together information that would help people to not gain weight during the cruise. It's not a diet. There's no medication involved. It's a common sense approach. This is the content of my talk. What to eat, how to eat, mindset, activity, and maintenance. But first, let's talk a little bit about preparation. In terms of preparation, you may want to take a pedometer or download a pedometer app on your phone, exercise clothes, and a journal or a food log. According to my dietitian colleague, food log or journal is one of the best tools to maintain your ideal weight. Keep track of your progress as well as your mindset. Before you leave, you want to weigh yourself as a baseline. Ideally, you want to weigh yourself in the bathroom with no clothes on, with an empty bladder. First thing in the morning. On a cruise ship, probably you have to use a scale in the gym. You don't have to weigh yourself every day. You can weigh yourself every few days with the same exercise clothes with an empty bladder. That's the closest to your dry weight. Let's get started. We're going to talk about what to eat, the most important subject, right? So let's get to it. First, eat a variety of food. I used to have a friend who liked to eat only one thing at a time, like bread, pasta, or steak. We used to call her monofood eater. We'll talk about the importance of balanced meal a little bit later. Each food group has certain nutrients and also gets digested in a certain way. If you don't eat a variety of food, you have limited nutrients and also it can cause some problems. For example, if you eat simple carbohydrates such as white bread or rice alone, it can raise your blood sugar very quickly because there's no influence from protein or fat to slow it down. Next, we need to eat a balanced meal. We are not going to eliminate fat or carbohydrates or protein completely. We need all of the above. We'll talk about the balance in just a little bit. The next important thing is the portion size. We'll get into the detail in the next two sections, the plate method and the hand method, and make the portion size control a whole lot easier for you. Let me explain about the plate method. Plate method is what we use in diabetes education a lot because it is simple, intuitive, and it works. You don't have to have diabetes to use this approach. I don't have diabetes, but I use this all the time, and I like it because it's so simple. So here's a plate. You are going to fill 50% of the plate with vegetables, ideally non-starchy vegetables. Starchy vegetables include things like corn, potatoes, pumpkins, and so on. Non-starchy vegetables are green leafy vegetables like spinach, kale, cucumber, tomatoes, broccoli, carrots, and so on. So this will help you eat lots of vegetables. A quarter or 25% of the plate you're going to fill with protein. Proteins are things like meat, poultry, like chicken, turkey. If you're vegetarian, you may use protein sources like tempeh, tofu, imitation meat. The other quarter or 25% is your carbohydrates. Carbohydrates include rice, bread, potatoes, corn, pasta, noodles, and so on. So just looking at the plate, you're going to get lots of vegetables. You want to make sure you have some protein and limit the amount of carbohydrates to a quarter or 25% of the plate. So keep this proportion in mind throughout the course. I refer back to this plate method. Let's talk about hand method. This is another very useful tool for people to eyeball what you're going to be eating. Let's go in the same order that we talked about. Using your hand is very useful because the size of your hand is already customized to your own body size. If you're a small person, your hands are small. And if you're a big person, your hands are big. So if you're a big person, you can eat way more than I can. So for vegetables, especially non-starchy vegetables, you can use 2 fists size. So you can eat lots of vegetables. Again, non-starchy vegetables are things like broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, spinach, Brussels sprouts, and so on. For protein, you can use the palm of your hand, the size, the thickness and the size of your palm without counting any fingers. So when you eat meat, poultry, or fish, you can compare the size of the steak or fillet of fish or chicken with the size of your palm to see if it's too big or the right size. Next, let's talk about the amount of carbohydrates. Your fist size is the amount of total carbohydrates per meal for you. Woman's fist size might be about a cup, and this is the amount for your rice, bread, pasta, or noodles. And this is the total amount, not rice or bread each. So if you want to eat, for example, rice and pasta, you may need to eat half a fist size each. So you're probably not going to be eating a whole plate full of pasta or fried noodles or fried rice. And that would not be a balanced meal. You might need to get used to eating smaller amount of carbohydrates. But remember, you can eat 2 fist size of vegetables and a palm size of protein. So you're not going to be hungry. You're getting plenty of food and calories for the meal. You can use the tip of your thumb as the amount of good fat. You can use olive oil, or if you like butter or margarine, you can use small amount, the tip of your thumb. And also you can use a handful of fruit, like berries, grapes, and so on. Let me show you a few real examples of my plates on the cruise. So this is one of the plates. I picked beef stew as protein and lots of vegetables, and those chips looked really good, so I grabbed some. So that's 25, 25, and 50%. So here's the next example. Rice and beans in the carb section, and protein has some vegetables in it, plus lots of cooked vegetables. Here you see a few more samples of my plates with protein, carbs, and vegetables. Of course, many foods are a combination of carbohydrates, protein, and fat. So sometimes it is difficult to differentiate which is which. So you just use your best judgment to balance the food out. And you can use this hand method and the plate method for the buffet meals. But also you can use that for sit-down restaurant meal as well. Additional tips for restaurant situation, sit-down restaurant situation where food is served. Number one, minimize the amount of bread. It's okay to eat bread if it's counted as part of your carbohydrate allowance, but your fist size or a quarter of your plate. What I suggest is take a piece of bread and send the bread basket away so you won't get tempted to eat more. And you can always ask for substitute. If, for example, your dinner comes with mashed potato, baked potato, or pasta on the side, then you can ask for substitute such as steamed vegetables. If the bread is the choice of your carbohydrates for that meal, instead of potato, you might just choose to eat bread but not potato. Or you can have half and half. The restaurants are usually happy to substitute with whatever they have. Sometimes they can substitute with a salad, coleslaw instead of French fries or baked potatoes, baked potato, mashed potato, and so on. Also, try to be careful with drinks because a lot of people tend to forget the calories that come from drinks, especially coffee drinks or alcoholic mixed drink. So large coffee drinks can contain 300 to 500 calories with milk or syrup or whipped cream or cookie crumbs or whatever they add on. So be careful because it can contain calories as much as a small meal. Mixed drink is the same way. They might mix with juice, syrup, cream, and so on, and that can have lots of calories as well and can shoot up your blood sugar. Even if you don't have blood sugar issues, having a big swing of blood sugar going up and down, and when it goes up, it can make you feel tired. And when it goes down, especially when it drops quickly, it can make you really hungry and tired, and that might cause more craving for more sugar or food. And simple sugar, simple carbohydrates tend to raise your blood sugar rapidly, but a few hours later, it can drop rapidly. And also, it's a good idea to carry water bottle all the time when you go on excursion, when you go to exercise, when you're walking around. And also make sure you drink water before you start eating. Fill yourself up with water. In summary, eat a variety of food. You're on a cruise, you can sample all kinds of food that you normally would not eat. Just keep it to a small portion size. Eat a balanced meal, protein, carbohydrates, and vegetables. And we talked about the portion size, and you can use the plate method or the hand method. And also be careful with beverages. Oh, just one more thing. Be careful with the salt intake. So not to put too much salt without tasting the food first, because you might gain water weight. Water follows wherever salt goes. So if you have too much salt, you might gain water weight. So be easy on the amount of salt intake. So now we talked about what to eat. So let's examine how to eat and the mindset next. I'll see you in the next module.